do you even choose over 10 years of Marvel movies? One of the hardest challenges for us was to pick 10 Marvel movies for which we need to see a sequel. Avengers Endgame, Black Panther, Iron Man, the list is never ending. But with the help of fans, we did it. The genre-hopping MCU has a lot to offer, and we can be sure that during the quarantine days, you did a marathon with some of the most popular Marvel movies. So, without further ado, here is our list of the 10 Marvel sequels we need to see. Number 10. Guardians of the Galaxy. While Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most popular movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, its sequel might be much better. In the summer of 2018, the writer-director James Gunn was fired and then rehired for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, so there's a high chance that we're about to see a sequel to this movie. The big question is, when? Well, during Disney's big Investors Day presentation, it was mentioned that we'll get to see the Marvel movie hit the theaters in 2023. But that was not the only good news, as it looks like some great movies are coming up in the next 2 years. Even if the release date for the sequel is not fully confirmed yet, we know that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is one of the greatest projects on the Marvel slate. The only confirmed release date we know is November 2022. We know that's a long time to wait, and we also hope that it's going to be worth it. Okay. Number 9. Ant-Man. It's been a long time since the Avengers defeated Thanos, the final galactic warning. But that doesn't mean we don't need the story to continue. In addition to upcoming films like Black Widow, Eternals, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, production has started on a third Ant-Man film, starring Paul Rudd as the titular hero. Series director Peyton Reed gave an update on the sequel, quote, "We are working away through the pandemic," Reed said. He also said there are some really exciting things in store, none of which he could of course speak about though, as is the Marvel way. Quote, "I think the third Ant-Man movie is going to be a much bigger, more sprawling movie than the first two. It's going to have a very different visual template," he added. Number 8. Thor: Love and Thunder. As it looks like Chris Hemsworth is coming back as Thor for a fourth standalone film. The famous actor will reprise his Marvel role as the God of Thunder for Thor: Love and Thunder, with the story of the return of a few Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. Waititi was acknowledged for directing Thor: Ragnarok. In Ragnarok, the writer-director also mentioned a character named Korg, who Thor and the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, faced when in Sakaar. The character also performed in 2019's Avengers Endgame in New Asgard. While on ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live in October 2019, the actor said that Korg will be back for Love and Thunder. Waititi also shared in an Instagram Live video as part of a Ragnarok watch party in April 2020 and said that fans will see more about Korg's history and where he came from. The fourth Thor film, titled Thor: Love and Thunder, will be released on May 6, 2022. Number 7. Avengers Endgame. Because of the amazing success it had and the reaction among fans, Avengers 5 seems guaranteed. But this movie was absent from Marvel's big Phase 4 release at Comic-Con in 2019. And in the years since, we got confirmations about other movies, though there's been no notice of an Avengers 5. It is most likely due to the coronavirus pandemic, as Black Widow is now not out for release until May 2021, with WandaVision to start the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in December. We also need to mention that most of the OG Avengers are not in the MCU after the events of Avengers Endgame, but Avengers 5 is still one of the movies fans need and want a sequel to. Number 6. Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness is happening as part of Marvel's Phase 4. But Benedict Cumberbatch's other single MCU trip has been through a lot of behind the scenes. Fans desperately need a sequel to this movie, but the delay of release dates has been wild. In January 2020, the first movie's director, Scott Derrickson, dropped the series because of, according to him, creative differences. In December 2020, he said he didn't want to be, quote, at the end of somebody else's movie, but he still serves as executive producer. And according to fans, his replacement is one of the best things that ever happened in the Marvel Universe. OG Spider-Man producer Sam Raimi has taken the position from Derrickson to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with the writer Michael Waldron. You find our will equal to yours. Number 5. Captain Marvel. Since Captain Marvel crossed the $1 billion line back in 2019, it's no wonder Marvel is planning a sequel. Originally, Captain Marvel 2 was supposed to come out on July 8, 2022, but that's not gonna happen. With the bad news of the delay, we also got some great news about the faces that'll appear in the upcoming movie. It was stated at the Disney Investors Call that Captain Marvel 2, which is now coming out on November 11, 2022, will add Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, and Teyonah Parris's Monica Rambeau. Number 4. Black Panther. The star of Netflix's Narcos Mexico, Tenoch Huerta, is entering the cast of the untitled film from Ryan Coogler. Marvel Studios' plans for the sequel to Black Panther are eventually starting. The sequel was stopped after the sudden and unexpected death of star Chadwick Boseman, and a proposed March 2021 production start was stopped as filmmaker Ryan Coogler and Marvel weren't sure if the sequel was a good choice because of the grief and respect of the deceased actor. There was then controversy on social media about the actors who could reprise the character. However, Marvel is about to enter 2021 the most active it's ever been as major movies are being planned. Number 3. Fantastic Four. After Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer earned a more insignificant amount of money than its previous movie, Fox dropped its plans for a sequel. Later in 2011, the studio hired writers Zack Stentz and Ashley Miller, who co-wrote X-Men First Class, and served on an early script draft for the Fantastic Four reboot to make a crossover that would highlight all the Marvel characters Fox had back then, including the X-Men, Daredevil, and the Fantastic Four. As these states, the script featured Johnny Storm causing chaos in Manhattan when in a battle with Molecule Man. A Fox Marvel story of the Great Civil War comic book storyline project was dropped after First Class became popular, helping Fox to concentrate on making X-Men Days of Future Past and continue improving the Fantastic Four reboot. Why isn't it working? We were too late. Number 2. The Incredible Hulk. Edward Norton's The Incredible Hulk 2 is one of the Marvel sequels we need to see. But why did this movie never happen? Edward Norton first planned to make a sequel to 2008's The Incredible Hulk, and even if it didn't come to realization, a few features have come out these last few years to show what the whole movie would have looked like. Back in 2008, Marvel wasn't as successful as it is now, and the first Hulk actor was Edward Norton. Over the years, he's told he was first signed up for a 2-film deal with a very special character arc for Bruce Banner. Sadly, it never happened. As we said, Norton has commented about The Incredible Hulk 2 during these last few years, usually talking about Banner's role as what he describes as, quote, the conscious dreamer, the guy who can handle the trip. Number 1. Blade 4. The company's first big screen hit was Blade. That covered the idea for X-Men. Blade's story featured a pretty complex character at the time, a character that only the fans of Tomb of Dracula and kids who had seen Spider-Man the animated series knew. However, it quickly turned into one of the most popular sequels ever. Blade Trinity wasn't as successful though, which made creators think about the next movie. So, the first idea for a third Blade was Blade, alone in a world run by vampires. That did not make it into a fourth film, as the working connection between Wesley Snipes and writer-director David Goyer wasn't as great on Trinity. Snipes had established recent discussions with Marvel, and Kate Beckinsale even said that there have at least been conversations regarding a crossover with the Underworld franchise. Is always trying to ice skate uphill. Is there a Marvel sequel we forgot?